Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin. The state of Massachusetts now has 2 new no-discharge zones, meaning virtually all of the coastal waters here in the Bay State are discharge-free. A press conference was held right down at Hyannis Harbor this morning. Let's view now images from that conference.
Because our environment and the economies depend on safe and productive coastlines and estuaries. So as you can see today, it is a great day as we celebrate the approval of the last 2 major no discharge areas in the Commonwealth, Mount Bay Hope. And this is really due to the important work that began years ago, and it has been a labor of love at the local towns up and down the coast. With the harbor masters, the local elected officials, certainly the stakeholder groups, the environmental organizations that have seen this as an absolute priority and kept us as a Commonwealth focused on what we are here to celebrate today. It was 5 years ago that the original application was filed by the Coastal Zone Management Group in the communities of the South Cape and Island and other organizations that have brought us here today. So you can see how much work goes into the application process and all of the work that goes in beforehand. We certainly submitted similar applications for the Mount Hope Bay, including the lower portions of the Taunton River. EPA, in its recent approval of the last 2 NDA application, it is the culmination of that hard and steadfast work by all of these organizations that have really made it possible. So look around here today, not so much at us up here, but of the faces in the crowd, because it is really all of you that has made this a reality.
I want to emphasize what was said earlier about the harbor masters. Where this work really happens is at the local level, and I want to congratulate all of you. Of course, the folks at Woods Hole and the Island Transportation Systems, folks Wayne and Todd and Martin. You've done great work in terms of bringing the ferries and the real commerce part of this issue to the concern here. So congratulations is in order. Mount Hope Bay and the southern side of Cape Cod are extraordinary resources. This is a great leap forward for Massachusetts coastal resources. I want to add a regional perspective, and of course I traveled over from Rhode Island this morning. When you move west from here, you'll know that every bit of Rhode Island waters are also a no discharge zone. And then when you move to New Hampshire, those waters are also a no discharge zone. This is a great accomplishment for this region to see this kind of designation in place for all the waters of southern New England. It's something we all need to be very, very proud of, and I want to essentially say that it didn't start with my coming on board just 2 years ago. The staff at EPA and the network of people who've been working on this, including my predecessor, Bob Varney, made this a high priority. So we're very pleased that the whole coastline is now a no discharge zone. These designations enhance the health, and a word I love, resilience of New England's waters. This is a top regional priority. Healthy oceans and coasts are the foundation of our nation's economy.
Well, I love these waters. I've grown up in them, lived all my life roaming them, and have worked hard to protect them. This is the culmination of a very long journey, beginning with the Coastal Zone Management Act that began in 1972, and the EPA, which we created, and didn't even exist before then. This environmental journey of all of ours is not as long as some people think. But just look at that green. Look at the green surrounding the entire coast, going all the way up the coast of New Hampshire and into Maine. It's an extraordinary story. For a lot of people who want to believe that government doesn't do anything, or that government isn't necessary, or that we spend taxpayer money stupidly, let them measure this program. And let them see what is happening here today, which is not a small thing. Because of the efforts of a lot of you here, and the efforts of a lot of other activists who've been fighting this, whether it's harbor masters or commercial interests that know that they're linked to the preservation of the ocean's viability, or environmental activists and others, the Coastal Zone Management folks, the EPA folks, All of them have come together here around a common enterprise, which is to protect our great God-given resource at the same time as we nurture it in a way that attracts people to come and enjoy these waters, whether it's recreational boaters or commercial fishermen or the people on the shore who benefit as a result of what is there that's clean. I remember the days when it was just raw sewage dumped into our harbors and into our waters. And the consequences were viruses and bacteria, disease, the pollution of fisheries, and the loss of habitat, and the loss of the ability of people to be able to make a living. For Barnstable, the shellfish industry is something like $7 million a year or more as an industry. Think of what happens now if we protect these waters, as we are going to do, and we have the ability to have even more available quahogs, clams, blue mussels, oysters, and so forth. Extraordinary. Not to mention the fisheries and the enjoyment of people who come here to just go to the beach and swim and enjoy our beaches. I think something like 123, 140 beaches, am I correct? 143 beaches are protected as a result of this latest step. Then add the rest of the area. This is just 26 miles that's being added today. But you have the entire coastline. Every single bit of it is being unified as a no discharge area by today's action. Why is this particularly meaningful to me? I'll tell you, because in 1992, I was a newer member of the Commerce Committee, on which I still serve. And we wrote and supported and passed the Clean Vessel Act, which now celebrates its 20th year anniversary here. And it celebrates it with a $75,000 grant that is going to come to the Cape Cod Commission, which has earned it. And on a competitive basis, Massachusetts has won 18% of the nation's grants under the Clean Vessel Act, and we have done better than anybody else. Why is that important? Because our pumping stations have been funded through many of the Clean Vessel Grant and the work of the Coastal Zone Management folks who brought everybody together. I think there are something like 29 pumping stations that will be added as a result of this work that's done over the last 5 years, putting together this next tranche, last tranche of the no discharge zone. And in total, in Massachusetts, we have 140 pumping stations circumventing our coastline in order to guarantee that the vessels that probe our waters in the summer and in the winter when they're fishing and so forth.
Thank everybody, and I'm going to keep this very brief. I'm just going to make one last-minute pitch. This is a remarkable effort to protect the water around Cape Cod and around New England and around the United States. And it is really a benchmark day in that regard. But the biggest environmental, and I don't think you guys thought you would get through this discussion this morning without me bringing this up, and you know where I'm going. The biggest environmental challenge here now is protecting that same water, but not from boats and ships discharging, but from what is going into the water here on land and going out through our embayments and through our estuaries, the 47 embayments and estuaries on the Cape. So as we celebrate today, understanding what a great and remarkable job and the number of years that have gone into getting us to where we are, we understand that the legacy of the next 20 years, and it really is a 20-year plan to do the technical planning, do the financial planning and implementation, is to really protect these waters now from what we're doing on shore here. It's doable. Everybody that is standing behind me here and in front of me understands that challenge and the magnitude of it, but also I think is ready to embrace it and solve it as well.
Again, that means that virtually all of the coastal waters here in Massachusetts are designated no discharge zones. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.